National Electrical Code Section 110.26 addresses the requirements for working space about electrical equipment. This code mandates sufficient access and working space around electrical equipment to permit safe operation and maintenance. It's not something you can circumvent simply because of installation difficulties. The specifics of Section 110.26 are crucial when installing a transformer, particularly regarding the depth, width, and height of the working space. The depth of the working space, that is, the clearance in front of the equipment, is determined by the voltage to ground and the condition of the space opposite the equipment. The voltage to ground for a 480-volt system is 277 volts, which affects the required depth of the working space. The conditions opposite the equipment are defined as Condition 1, Condition 2, and Condition 3. Condition 1 is where there's an exposed live part or grounded part on one side and no live or grounded parts on the other side of the working space, or where there are exposed live parts on both sides effectively guarded by suitable wood or other insulating materials. Condition 2 is where there are exposed live parts on one side and grounded part on the other side. Condition 3 is where there are exposed live parts on both sides of the working space, unguarded. Each of these conditions requires different minimum clearance distances. The width of the working space must be at least 30 inches wide or the width of the equipment, whichever is greater. This width allows personnel to safely work on the equipment without being obstructed. The height of the working space must extend from the grade, floor, or platform to a height of 6.5 feet or the height of the equipment, whichever is greater. This ensures adequate headroom for personnel to perform tasks. In the case of a 480 to 120/208 volt 75 kVA transformer, the primary voltage is 480 volts, and the secondary voltages are 120 volts and 208 volts. The relevant voltage for determining working space is the higher voltage, in this case, 480 volts. However, the specific transformer also has its own manufacturer-specified clearance requirement. These are critical and must be followed in addition to the NEC requirements. The manufacturer's nameplate will often specify minimum clearances required for ventilation and safe operation. This information should be considered paramount, as it directly relates to the safe and efficient functioning of the specific piece of equipment. The situation where a 400 kilowatt generator is placed 6 inches too close to the transformer presents a clear violation of NEC 110.26 and likely the manufacturer's specifications. Having 6 inches of space behind the transformer to a brick wall might meet some ventilation requirements, but it doesn't address the front working space requirements. The NEC mandates a specific working space in front of electrical equipment for safety. If the manufacturer's nameplate indicates a required clearance on the front of the transformer, that requirement must be met. Contacting the manufacturer's representative, in this case, the Squared D representative, is the correct approach. They can provide specific guidance on the transformer's clearance and ventilation requirements. If the transformer cannot be moved to meet the required clearances, then the manufacturer may offer alternative ventilation methods. These methods might involve ducting or forced air systems to ensure proper cooling and operation within the allowed space. The question of whether there's a way to get around 110.26 to make the installation legal is straightforward. No, there isn't. Section 110.26 is a safety requirement and cannot be waived. It's designed to protect personnel and ensure the safe operation of electrical equipment. If the current location does not allow for compliance with 110.26 and the manufacturer's specifications, the transformer must be moved. While moving the transformer might require a significant amount of work and an IQ to vary your expense, it is essential to prioritize safety and code compliance. Trying to circumvent these requirements can lead to dangerous situations, including electrical hazards and equipment malfunction. When evaluating the situation, consider the following points. Firstly, review the manufacturer's nameplate for specific clearance requirements. This is usually the most direct and clear information regarding required clearances for that specific transformer. Secondly, consult NEC 110.26 to determine the minimum working space requirements based on voltage and conditions opposite the equipment. Thirdly, discuss alternative ventilation methods with the manufacturer's representative. They may have solutions that allow for a reduced footprint while maintaining safety and performance. Fourthly, if moving the transformer is the only option, plan the relocation carefully. This includes assessing the new location for compliance with all applicable codes and standards. It also involves coordinating the necessary resources, such as electrical contractors and equipment, to perform the move safely and efficiently. Fifthly, document all steps taken to comply with the code and manufacturer's requirement. This documentation can be valuable in demonstrating due diligence and ensuring that the installation meets all necessary standards. Proper transformer installation is crucial for safety and reliability. Adhering to NEC 110.26 and the manufacturer's specifications is essential to avoid hazards and ensure the long-term performance of the equipment. In summary, there is no acceptable method to bypass the stipulations outlined in NEC 110.26. This regulation mandates adequate working space around electrical equipment for safety and maintenance. This working space consists of specific depth, width, and height parameters that must be met based on the voltage to ground and the conditions present opposite the equipment. In your specific case, a 480 to 120/208 volt 75 kVA transformer has been installed with a 400 kilowatt generator placed too closely, violating both NEC 110.26 and potentially the manufacturer's specified clearance requirements. The manufacturer's nameplate typically indicates the minimum clearances needed for ventilation and safe operation, and these instructions are paramount. The NEC further stipulates the required working space in front of electrical equipment for safety. While you've contacted the Square D representative to explore alternative ventilation options that might allow the transformer to be placed closer to the wall, the reality is that NEC 110.26 cannot be circumvented. It's a safety regulation designed to protect personnel and ensure the safe operation of electrical equipment. Therefore, if the current location does not meet the clearances required by both NEC 110.26 and the manufacturer, the transformer must be relocated. This may involve significant effort and expense, including a night cutover, but it is essential to prioritize safety and code compliance. Bypassing these requirements can lead to dangerous situations, including electrical hazards and equipment malfunction. The steps to consider in resolving this situation include, firstly, reviewing the manufacturer's nameplate for specific clearance requirements, which provide direct instructions for that particular transformer. Secondly, consulting NEC 110.26 to determine the minimum working space requirements based on the voltage and conditions opposite the equipment. Thirdly, discussing alternative ventilation methods with the manufacturer's representative, who may offer solutions to reduce the footprint while maintaining safety and performance. Fourthly, if relocation is necessary, carefully planning the move, assessing the new location for compliance with all codes and standards, and coordinating resources for a safe and efficient relocation. And fifthly, documenting all steps taken to comply with the code and manufacturer's requirements, providing evidence of due diligence and ensuring that the installation meets all necessary standards. Transformer installation must adhere to NEC 110.26 and the manufacturer's specifications to avoid hazards and ensure long-term equipment performance. Relocating the transformer to a code-compliant location is necessary if the current setup violates clearance requirements, irrespective of the challenges and costs involved. The integrity of the electrical system's safety and reliability should always be the top priority.